The following broadcast is a work of fiction. It is a creative story intended for entertainment and atmosphere purposes only. Please be assured that the events described, including the reports of extraterrestrial hunters, jungle disappearances, and military engagements, are entirely imaginary. The world is not ending. There is no actual invasion occurring, and the global situation is perfectly stable. This is a narrative exercise in science fiction and horror storytelling. Good evening to those of you still tuning in. This is Javier Morales, broadcasting from the Radio Selva relay station. If the signal is reaching you through the static and the heavy humidity of the canopy, I urge you to stay by your sets. We are entering our 10th hour of the emergency blackout, and while the official government channels have gone silent or are repeating the same looped messages about localized atmospheric disturbances, the reality on the ground, here in the deep green of the basin, is something far more terrifying. I am here to be the voice in the dark, the one who tells you what the sensors and the satellite feeds aren't showing. I am here to tell you that the jungle is no longer ours. It hasn't been since the heat wave broke all historical records 3 days ago. Before we get to the eyewitness accounts, let me repeat the most important thing. The world is not ending. This is a localized conflict, though conflict feels like the wrong word. A conflict implies two sides fighting. What we are seeing in the Valle de las Sombras is a harvest. For those of you in the surrounding villages, do not, under any circumstances, carry a weapon openly. We have observed a pattern. They do not seem interested in the unarmed, the sick, or the weak. They are looking for a challenge. They are looking for those who strike back. If you're a hunter, put down your rifle. If you're a soldier, stay in your bunker. To hold a weapon right now is to sign your own death warrant. It started with the red heat. That's what the locals are calling this oppressive, unnatural temperature spike. It's not just the sun. There's a thickness to the air, a vibration that makes your skin crawl. The birds stopped singing 2 days ago. Even the insects have gone quiet. Yesterday, a military scout team, the 4th Recon Battalion, was sent into the northern sector to investigate a downed satellite. They never checked in. 6 hours ago, a 2nd unit went in to find them. They found their transport trucks fully fueled, engines still idling, but the men were gone. Not just gone. They were found later, suspended from the branches of the great ceiba trees. I don't need to describe the state they were in. You've heard the whispers. You've seen the blurry photos being passed around on the shortwave nets. They were displayed like trophies. No blood on the ground. No signs of struggle. Just a clean, surgical extraction. The government calls them guerrillas or insurgents. But guerrillas don't have the technology to vanish in broad afternoon light. I have a report here from Survivor, a young private named Rico who crawled back to the perimeter fence an hour ago. He was incoherent, babbling about the air itself turning into a mirror. He said he saw his sergeant get hit by something that didn't make a sound, a flash of blue light, and then a hole where his chest used to be. Rico swore that when he looked at the space where the shot came from, he saw a shimmer, a ripple in the humidity, like heat rising off a highway. He said he saw eyes, not human eyes, pale, glowing yellow pits that moved with the grace of a jaguar. He said it laughed. It didn't sound like a machine, and it didn't sound like a man. It sounded like a recording of a man's last breath, played back through a distorted speaker. We are receiving similar reports from the logging camps near the border. The workers there are terrified. They say the demon of the trees has returned. Old legends are being dusted off, stories of El Cazador de Trofios, the trophy hunter. For centuries, our ancestors spoke of the years when the heat became unbearable, the years when the stars fell from the sky and brought with them the silent warriors who hunt for sport. We laughed at those stories. We thought they were metaphors for the harshness of the jungle. We aren't laughing now. I'm looking at the thermal feed from a repurposed weather drone I managed to hack into. The screen is a mess of static, but there are ghosts in the image. Strange, cold shapes moving through the undergrowth. They don't register as warm-blooded mammals, but they aren't machines either. They move in a way that suggests they are navigating the canopy as easily as we walk a paved road. Occasionally, a flash of white-hot energy flares on the screen, followed by the disappearance of a human heat signature. It's a systematic purge of every armed individual in the zone. To the families in the foothills, stay inside. Do not use fire if you can avoid it. We believe they track heat. If you have a basement or a cellar, go there. Cover yourselves in mud or wet blankets. It sounds primitive, but we've noticed that the few who have survived an encounter were those who were obscured by the environment. Rico, the private who made it back, had fallen into a mud pit after the first explosion. He said the mirror man walked right past him, looking left and right, but its eyes seemed to skip over his cold, mud-caked body. This is a game of hide and seek, and the seekers have technology that treats our world like a playground. I have a dispatch coming in from the Coastal Guard. They've sighted strange, elongated craft hovering silently over the water, just outside the reef. They aren't airplanes. They have no wings, no visible engines. They just sit there, like observers, waiting. Every now and then, one of them descends into the jungle with the speed of a falling star, and 20 minutes later, another red heat spike is recorded. They're dropping more of them. This isn't a single scout. This is a hunting party. This is a seasonal event for them. To us, it's the end of our security, but to them, it's a vacation. It's a ritual. I want to talk to the soldiers listening to this. I know your orders are to engage on sight. I know you feel the weight of your training and your duty. But listen to my voice. Your rifles are nothing more than noisemakers to these things. Your armor is tissue paper. Every time you fire a shot, you are just flashing a "here I am" sign to a predator that can see your heartbeat through a brick wall. If you want to survive, you need to abandon the tactics of modern warfare. Forget the formation. Forget the radio chatter. The AI-integrated comms you're using, they can hear it. They're likely listening to your command channel right now, laughing at the confusion in your colonel's voice. They aren't just hunters. They're masters of psychological warfare. They play back the voices of your fallen friends to lure you into the tall grass. If you hear Sergeant Gomez calling for help from a ravine, and you know Gomez died an hour ago, do not go to him. It's a trap. It's a lure. The weather is getting worse. The barometer is dropping, but the heat is staying high. A massive storm is building over the peaks, but it's not a natural storm. The clouds are swirling in a perfect circle around the landing zone. We believe their ships are manipulating the local weather to create the perfect hunting environment. High humidity, low visibility, intense electrical activity to scramble our long-range sensors. They're setting the stage. They like it when we are scared. They like it when we can't see more than 5 feet in front of us. It makes the click of their cloaking devices that much more effective when it happens right behind your ear. If you're hearing this broadcast, it means the relay is still holding. I've reinforced the station, but I'm under no illusions. I am alone here, and I am unarmed. I've discarded my sidearm. I have no weapons in this room. I am just a man with a microphone and a lot of dead air to fill. I'm hoping that by remaining a non-combatant, I am beneath their notice. Or perhaps they want someone to record the hunt. Every great hunter wants their legend to be told, don't they? Maybe I'm the court scribe for these monsters. I have a report from the village of San Pedro. The entire local police force was wiped out in 10 minutes. They tried to set up a perimeter around the church. They had shotguns, pistols, and a few old bolt-action rifles. Witnesses say the shimmer moved through the town square like a scythe. One officer was decapitated by an invisible blade that left a cauterized wound. Another was pinned to a wooden door by a 3-pronged spear that appeared out of thin air. The villagers who were hiding in the church were left untouched. The priest said he looked out the window and saw a towering figure, nearly 8 feet tall, standing over the bodies. It was wearing a mask, a cold, metallic face with tubes and markings that glowed with a faint red light. It looked at the church, saw the unarmed people trembling inside, and simply leaped onto a rooftop and vanished. It had no interest in them. They weren't worthy. This confirms the theory of the honor code. They are not here to occupy our land. They don't want our gold, our oil, or our territory. They want our skulls. They want the challenge of a prey that fights back. This is why the military is being targeted so aggressively. To these Yautja, That's the name I found in some old redacted files from a previous incident in the 80s. To them, we were just the most dangerous game on this planet. They have traveled across the galaxy just to see if our best soldiers are a match for their youngest warriors. It is a sport, a bloody, horrific sport. I'm looking out the window of the booth now. The rain has started. It's heavy, tropical rain, but it's not cooling the air. I can see the lightning striking the peaks every few seconds. In the flashes, I see things in the trees. Not monkeys, not birds, shapes that are too large, too upright. They are watching the station. They know I am here. I can hear a sound coming through the exterior microphones. It's a rhythmic, mechanical clicking. Click, click, click. It's the sound of their masks processing the environment. They're scanning the radio waves. They're probably translating my words right now. If you can hear me, whoever you are, wherever you are, stay quiet. The jungle has eyes that see in the dark, eyes that see the heat of your blood. The invisible hunter is real, and he is here for the harvest. I will keep this station running as long as the fuel for the generator lasts. I will keep telling the stories of those who disappear. I will be the record of this invasion. Wait, something is different. The clicking has stopped. The monitors are showing a massive energy signature moving toward the valley floor. It's larger than the individual hunters. Something big is coming down. A dropship? Or something else? The military is scrambling their last jets from the airbase 60 miles away. This is a mistake. They're sending those pilots to their deaths. Those jets won't even get close before they're swatted out of the sky by a plasma caster. The shortwave is exploding with chatter now. They're in the wire. They're in the wire. That's the last thing I heard from the border outpost. Then a scream, and then that same distorted, recorded laughter. It's a mocking sound. It's the sound of a predator that knows it's already won. We are living in a nightmare of high-tech primalism. We are being hunted by the gods of the stars, and they have no mercy for those who carry a sword. I'm going to take a moment to recalibrate the signal. I need to make sure we're reaching the coastal frequencies. If you're on a boat, get out to deep water. They seem to prefer the cover of the foliage. But don't think you're completely safe. They are amphibious when they want to be. Stay with me. Don't close your eyes. The jungle is alive, and it's looking for a trophy. I am Javier Morales, and this is part 1 of the Selva Reports. I will be back with more news shortly, provided the shimmer stays on the other side of the glass. The broadcast continues with a low, rhythmic hum of the radio equipment, occasionally interrupted by the distant, muffled sound of jungle explosions and that haunting, mechanical clicking. The sky to the north is no longer dark. It has turned a bruised, electric violet, illuminated by the constant discharge of the anti-aircraft batteries at the base in San Cristobal. But the rhythm of the fire is wrong. It's frantic, disorganized. I've been listening to the pilot frequencies on the encrypted band, or what's left of them, and the panic is absolute. They're calling out targets that aren't there, screaming about ghosts on their radar that move at Mach 5 and then vanish into the clouds. A few minutes ago, I heard a wing commander authorize a full napalm strike on Sector 7. Napalm. They're going to burn the very jungle they were sent to protect, hoping to smoke out a predator they can't even see. It won't work. I've seen the shimmer move through fire before. It doesn't fear the heat. It is born of it. The red heat is getting worse. The humidity so thick I can feel the moisture collecting on the diaphragm of this microphone. It feels like the jungle is being cooked from the inside out, turned into a giant, steamy pressure cooker for the amusement of something that watches from the canopy. I have a new report from Scout who managed to transmit a final data burst before his position went dark. He was stationed near the ancient Mayan ruins at Palenque. He described seeing 3 of them, 3 mirrors, standing atop the temple of the inscriptions. They weren't hiding anymore. They were silhouetted against the lightning, their metallic armor reflecting the flashes. He said they were holding what looked like long, telescopic spears that pulsed with a blue electrical current. But it was what they were doing that chilled me. They weren't just standing, they were cleaning. They were meticulously cleaning the spinal columns of the soldiers they had taken. It was a ritual. He described the sound, a wet, rhythmic scraping that carried over the rain. To them, The ruins of our ancestors aren't historical sites. They're just convenient butcher blocks. They have no respect for our history, only for the hunt. If you're near the ruins, get away. They seem to gravitate toward the high ground, toward the stone structures that provide them with the best vantage points for their plasma casters. The plasma technology is what I want to talk about next. We've seen the aftermath of the blue flashes. It's not like a bullet wound. It's a localized thermal explosion. It cauterizes the flesh instantly, meaning there's no blood trail to follow. If you are hit, you don't bleed out. You simply cease to function. I've heard of armored vehicles, tanks with 3 inches of reinforced steel, being sliced open like tin cans by a single concentrated bolt. The military is trying to counter with thermal shielding, but the Yaoja technology seems to adjust. They are mapping our defenses in real time. Every time we try a new tactic, they evolve. It's like they're using our military as a testing ground for new equipment. We are the software update for their next generation of weaponry. It's a terrifying thought that our struggle for survival is just a data-gathering exercise for a race of starfaring hunters. I'm looking at a grainy feed from a civilian security camera in a logging camp 50 miles east. The camp is a ruin, but the shimmer is visible here. For a few seconds, the creature's cloaking device flickered. Perhaps the heavy rain caused a momentary short in the field. I saw it. It's not just a man in a suit. The proportions are all wrong. The arms are too long, the legs built for explosive jumping. The skin is mottled like a lizard or an amphibian, and the face, even behind the mask, you can see the mandibles twitching. It's a predator in every sense of the word. It stood over the camp's foreman, who was clutching a chainsaw in a desperate, futile attempt at defense. The creature didn't use its plasma caster. It retracted its shoulder-mounted weapon and extended 2 long, serrated blades from its wrist gauntlet. It wanted to feel the resistance. It wanted the kill to be physical. It's a level of intimacy in violence that our modern world has forgotten. We kill from thousands of miles away with drones. They kill from 3 inches away with steel. The star demons are not just in the jungle anymore. They're moving toward the infrastructure. I received word that the hydroelectric dam at Rio Negro has been compromised. Not destroyed, but occupied. They've cut the power to the surrounding grid, but they're using the dam's turbines to power something of their own. Our engineers say the energy signatures coming from the dam are off the charts. They are charging something. Is it a beacon? Or a weapon? Or maybe they're just refueling their ships. If you're in the blacked out zones, stay in your homes. The lack of electricity is your best friend right now. They look for the light. They look for the heat of the generators. If your house is cold and dark, you look like a rock or a tree to them. But the moment you flip that switch, the moment that incandescent bulb glows, you become a target on their HUD. I want to speak to the last resistors in the mountains. I know there are groups of you forming iron circles, huddling together with every weapon you could scavenge. I've heard you on the open channels, promising to take as many as you can with you. Listen to me, that pride is what they want. They want you to be defiant. They want you to be worthy prey. If you gather in large groups with heavy weapons, you're just inviting a trophy sweep. They will pick you off one by one, starting with the strongest, the loudest, the one with the biggest gun. It's not a war. You can't win a war against an enemy you can't see, an enemy that doesn't care about your land or your politics. Break into small groups. Scatter. Hide in the caves that have high iron content in the walls. It might help scramble their sensors. If you stay together, you're just a buffet. The legend of the one who walked away is being told in the shelters. It's a story from the 1980s about a man in the Val Verde jungle who allegedly fought one of these things and survived. The story goes that he covered himself in cold mud to hide his heat signature and set primitive traps, tripwires, sharpened stakes, falling logs. He turned the jungle itself into a weapon. It's the only recorded instance of a human defeating a Yaoja. It tells us 2 things. First, that they can be killed. If they bleed, they can die. And their blood, they say it's a glowing neon green like radioactive waste. If you see that glow on the leaves, it means you've heard it. It means it's vulnerable. But the second thing the story tells us is that you cannot beat them with our technology. You have to beat them with the Earth's technology. You have to go back to the mud. You have to go back to the sharpened stone. You have to be more primal than the predator. I'm hearing a new sound on the exterior microphones. It's a low, guttural growl, but it has a metallic resonance. It's coming from the ridge above the station. I'm looking at the monitors, and the shimmer is there. It's perched on a rock, looking down at the relay tower. It's not moving. It's just watching. It's like it's listening to the broadcast. Can they understand us? Some of the redacted files say their masks have built-in translators. They can record our speech and play it back, but do they understand the context? Or am I just a bird chirping in a cage to them? A curious sound in a dying forest. I'm keeping my hands visible on the table. I'm not reaching for anything. I'm just a voice. I want to talk about the disappearances in the coastal towns. It's not just the soldiers. They're taking the hunters, the police, anyone with a high adrenaline response. They can sense the fear or perhaps the aggression. There was a report from a harbor master in Puerto Vallarta who saw a ripple move across the surface of the water toward a police boat. The boat was found 10 minutes later, drifting with the entire crew gone. The only thing left was the sound of the radio, playing back a recording of the harbor master's own voice from 5 minutes earlier. They are learning us. They are mimicry artists. They use our own voices to lead us into the dark. If you hear your wife, your brother, or your child calling from the bushes and it sounds just a little too perfect, just a little too repetitive, do not go. It is the sound of a trap being sprung. The red heat is starting to affect the local wildlife in strange ways. I've seen footage of jaguars and caimans fleeing the deep jungle, moving toward the human settlements. They're terrified. They're being hunted too, but not for trophies. They're being cleared out of the way. The Yautja are shaping the environment, removing any secondary predators that might interfere with their primary hunt. It's an ecological disaster on top of a massacre. The balance of the jungle is being shattered. When this is over, if it's ever over, the selva will never be the same. The silence will be permanent. I have a message for the Air Force pilots still flying out of the northern bases. I know you think your heat-seeking missiles and your radar-guided cannons will save you, but the Yautja craft use a form of gravitational displacement for movement. They don't have heat signatures that our missiles can lock onto. You are flying blind into a storm of plasma and light. We've lost 12 jets in the last 3 hours. Not one of them even fired a shot. They were intercepted by shimmers in the upper atmosphere. The pilots who ejected, they didn't hit the ground. They were caught in midair by something that appeared out of the clouds. This is not an invasion. An invasion implies a desire to stay. This is a safari. We are the lions, and they're the hunters with the high-powered rifles. Let's talk about the mask. Every one of them wears it. It's not just armor. It's a sensory array. It allows them to see in infrared, ultraviolet, and frequencies we haven't even named. It filters the air, perhaps because our atmosphere is too thin or too oxygen-rich for them. But the mask is also their greatest weakness. If you can knock it off, if you can damage the sensors, they are blinded in our world. They become disoriented. I've heard a rumor from an old guerrilla fighter who said he once saw a demon take off its mask after being wounded. He said the face underneath was a nightmare of mandibles and deep-set eyes. But the creature was coughing, gasping for air. It couldn't handle our world without the mask. If you find yourself in a life-or-death struggle, aim for the head. Not to kill, but to unmask. A blind predator is a dead predator. The humidity is now at 100%. The rain is falling in sheets, but the temperature is still 85 degrees. This is the Yautja weather. They thrive in this. It reminds them of home, perhaps. Or maybe it just makes their cloaking devices more effective by blurring the lines between the water and the air. I'm looking at the sensors, and the energy spikes are moving closer to the valley floor. They are tightening the net. They are driving the remaining military forces into the canyon, where there is no escape. It's a classic pincer movement executed with extraterrestrial precision. In an hour, the Valle de las Sombras will be a slaughterhouse. I want to speak to the civilians again. I know the urge to run is strong, but if you run, you move. If you move, you create a signature. The safest place is in the dirt. Dig a shallow trench, cover it with branches and mud, and stay still. Don't speak. Don't cry. Don't even pray out loud. If you can lower your body temperature, if you can become as cold as the earth around you, you might just survive the scan. They're looking for the pulse. They're looking for the heat. If you can be a cold, silent object, you are uninteresting to them. They don't collect rocks. They collect hearts. The radio chatter is dying down. The base at San Cristobal has gone silent. The last thing I heard was the sound of self-destruct sequence being initiated. The commander didn't want them to have the technology. But what technology do we have that they could possibly want? Our tanks are toys to them. Our computers are abacuses. The only thing they want from us is our combat experience. They want to see how we die. They want to see if we go down swinging or if we beg. I'm looking at the shimmer on the ridge again. It's closer now. It's standing at the edge of the clearing, just outside the station's perimeter fence. It's holding a disc, a circular blade that hums with a low-frequency vibration. It's spinning it slowly in its hand. It's a challenge. It's waiting to see if I'll come out. It's waiting to see if the voice has a bite. I'm not going out. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to keep talking to you. I'm going to be the one thing they can't turn into a trophy, a man who refuses to play their game. I have a report from the medical triage set up at the edge of the zone. They say the wounds are impossible. Not just the cauterization, but the way the bones are removed. They're taking the skulls and the spines as a single unit. It's a clean, efficient process that takes seconds. They have specialized tools for it. They are processing us like we process cattle. To them, we aren't a civilization. We are a resource. A seasonal harvest of trophies to be taken back to the stars and hung on a wall in a trophy room we can't even imagine. Think about that. Somewhere out there, among the stars, there is a gallery of human skulls, each one representing a soldier who thought he was the toughest man on Earth. Let's talk about the sound of the jungle. It's changed. It's no longer the sound of life. It's the sound of simulation. I've been hearing bird calls that are too perfect, monkey screams that repeat on a 10-second loop. They're using the sounds of the jungle to mask their movements. They are remixing our world to confuse us. If you hear a parrot screaming, "Help me," it's not a parrot, and it's not someone who needs help. It's a predator trying to trigger your rescue instinct. They know we are social animals. They know we protect our own. They use our best qualities, our courage, our empathy against us. It's a cruel, brilliant tactic. The storm is directly overhead now. The lightning is constant, turning the jungle into a strobe light nightmare. In the flashes, the shimmers are everywhere. They are in the trees, on the roofs of the abandoned logging trucks, standing in the middle of the river. There are dozens of them. This is not a small party. This is a grand hunt. They have invited the whole clan. They are celebrating something. Maybe it's a rite of passage for their young. Or maybe it's a memorial for a fallen elder. Whatever it is, we are the entertainment. We are the live targets for their festival. I want to speak to the children who might be listening. I know you're scared. I know you're hiding under the beds. Listen to me. You are safe. They don't hunt children. They don't hunt the small. You are not worthy in their eyes. Stay where you are. Stay quiet. The monsters will leave once the sun comes up and the red heat breaks. They're like the shadows. They only exist as long as the heat is high and the fire is burning. Don't look out the windows. Just wait for the morning. The morning will come. The energy signature from the dam is pulsing now. A massive blue beam of light just shot into the sky, piercing through the storm clouds. It's a signal, or a transport beam. I can see the ships in the upper atmosphere now, vast obsidian shapes that are reflecting the lightning. They are leaving, or more are coming. The radio is filling with a sound I've never heard before, a high-pitched, melodic whistling that seems to be coming from the blue beam. It's beautiful. It's almost like music. Is this how they communicate? Is this the sound of their victory song? I'm looking at the shimmer outside my window. It's gone. The rock on the ridge is empty. The clearing is empty. But I can feel it. It's closer. It's inside the perimeter. I can hear the floorboards of the station creaking. Not the sound of a man. The sound of something heavy, something that is trying to be light. It's in the hallway. I'm not looking at the door. I'm keeping my eyes on the signal levels. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to tell you about the star demons until the very end. El Cazador de Trofios is here. The harvest is almost complete. But the selva remembers. The earth remembers the blood that has been spilled. One day, the stars will be quiet. One day, the hunters will become the hunted. Until then, we stay in the dirt. We stay in the mud. We stay human. I'm Javier Morales. This is part 2 of the Selva Reports. The rain is getting louder. The blue light is fading. I'll be back with part 3 if the shimmer lets me finish this sentence. The sound of a heavy, metallic door sliding open. A low, rhythmic clicking fills the room, followed by a distorted recording of Javier's own voice saying, "The morning will come." The clicking is right behind me now. I can feel the change in the air pressure, a heavy, static charge presence that smells like scorched ozone and raw, wet copper. I'm not turning around. I'm keeping my eyes fixed on the glowing levels of the soundboard. If I turn, if I reach for anything, the hunt begins for me, and I'm not ready for my story to end as a trophy on a bulkhead. I can hear the creatures breathing, heavy, rattling, and filtered through the haptic sensors of that metallic mask. It's a sound that shouldn't belong in a humid jungle. It belongs in the cold void between stars. It is mimicking my voice again, a perfect digital reproduction of the words I spoke 10 minutes ago. The morning will come. It's testing the phonetics, or perhaps it's mocking the very concept of hope. To this thing, morning is just a change in light frequency, a new spectrum in which to track the heat signatures of the dying. I have just received a burst transmission from a long-range recon unit that was positioned on the northern cliffs overlooking the San Cristobal base. They witnessed the napalm strike. They said the valley was turned into a sea of fire for 3 minutes. The trees, the brush, the very soil was incinerated. They expected to see the shimmers burned out of existence, but instead, they saw something that defied every law of biology. As the flames roared, 3 figures emerged from the inferno. Their cloaks were flickering, the heat causing the light-bending cells to struggle, revealing their true forms for a few terrifying seconds. They were towering, armored giants, their skins seemingly resistant to the temperatures that melt steel. They didn't run from the fire. They walked through it, using the chaos of the smoke to flank the remaining soldiers who were celebrating the hit. The recon unit said it wasn't a battle. It was a harvest of the confused. The fire didn't smoke them out. It just gave them a more dramatic backdrop for the slaughter. This confirms the reports regarding their armor. It is a multi-layered composite that seems to dissipate thermal energy at an incredible rate. To those of you thinking of using flamethrowers or Molotov cocktails, don't. You're just giving them a better silhouette to aim at. They thrive in the heat. The red heat we are experiencing isn't just a byproduct of their arrival. It's an environmental modification. They are making the earth feel like home. And home, for them, is a place where the air burns and the weak don't survive the noon sun. I'm looking at the barometer again, and it's still dropping. The storm isn't a storm. It's a localized atmospheric collapse. They are cleaning the air, removing the particulates that interfere with their long-range plasma targeting. I want to talk about the Elder. We've had a report from an indigenous scout who was hiding in a limestone cave near the Rio Negro. He saw one that was different from the others. It didn't wear the sleek, polished armor of the younger hunters. It wore a cloak made of what looked like heavy, matted fur and the tanned hides of creatures he didn't recognize. It carried a staff tipped with a jagged, glowing crystal. The other mirrors bowed to it. They presented their trophies to this figure, the skulls of our elite officers, cleaned and polished in the middle of a war zone. This suggests a tribal structure, a hierarchy of experience. The young bloods are here to prove themselves, but the Elder is here to judge. He is the referee of our extinction. If you see the one with the staff, know that you are looking at centuries of hunting experience. He has likely hunted species across a dozen worlds. To him, we are just a particularly loud breed of primate. Let's talk about their self-healing. I heard a recording from a field medic who was hiding in a ditch while a wounded hunter repaired itself only a few yards away. He said the creature had been hit by a stray grenade fragment. It didn't scream. It pulled out a small, metallic kit from its belt and applied a blue, glowing paste to the wound. The medic described the sound of flesh knitting back together, a sizzling, popping noise that smelled like burning sugar. Within seconds, the creature was standing again, its wound closed, its armor resealed. They are virtually tireless. You can't bleed them out with small nicks and scratches. If you don't take them down with a single, massive blow to the central nervous system, they will just reset and come back for you. They have a biological resilience that makes our modern medicine look like bloodletting with leeches. I'm looking at the radio monitors, and the blue beam from the dam has changed frequency. It's no longer a steady whistle. It's a pulsing, melodic thrum. It's a countdown, or call. I can see the ships in the upper atmosphere reflecting the pulse. They are moving into a stationary orbit directly over the Valle de las Sombras. They are locking the sector. No one is getting in, and no one is getting out. The military jets that were scrambled an hour ago, they never arrived. I've seen the debris falling from the sky, burning fragments of titanium and jet fuel. They were swatted down before they could even get a radar lock. We're in a closed arena now. The fence is made of plasma and gravity, and the lions are already inside the cage. I want to speak to the guerrilla units in the northern ridges. I know you've spent decades fighting in these woods. You know every trail, every cave, every hidden spring. You think you have the home field advantage. But these things see the jungle differently. They don't see leaves and branches. They see thermal signatures, pheromone trails, and the subtle vibrations of your footsteps. Your camouflage is a joke to them. Your invisible spider holes are just glowing orange targets on their HUDs. If you want to survive, you have to stop thinking like a soldier and start thinking like a ghost. You have to be non-biological. Cover yourselves in the cold mud of the riverbanks. Stay near the iron-rich rocks. If you can find a way to lower your heart rate through meditation or drugs, do it. Every beat of your heart is a drum that they can hear from a mile away. The red heat is now at its peak. The temperature inside the booth has reached 95 degrees, and I've had to turn off the cooling fans because the noise was interfering with the signal. The moisture is dripping off the walls. I can see the shimmer in the reflection of the glass. It's standing right behind my chair. It's looking at the back of my head. I can see the red laser dots of its targeting system dancing on the wall in front of me. 3 dots in a triangle. The mark of the hunter. It's not firing. It's waiting. It's curious about the voice. It wants to know why I'm not running. It wants to know if I'm a different kind of prey. Or maybe it's just enjoying the sound of its own legend being told. I have a report from the village of Alta Vista. The inhabitants there didn't run. They didn't arm themselves. They sat in the square and waited. The mirrors moved through the village, their cloaks rippling as they leaped from roof to roof. They didn't kill anyone. They ignored the old men, the women, the children. They were looking for the warriors. They found the local sheriff, who had a pistol drawn. They took him. They found a young man with a hunting knife. They took him. The rest were left in a state of traumatized peace. This is the selective harvest. They aren't here to exterminate us. They are here to cull the best of us. They want the DNA of the brave. They want the trophies of the strong. If you are weak, you are invisible to them. It is a terrifying Darwinian nightmare. Let's talk about the sound of the clicking. It's not just a vocalization. We believe it's part of their echolocation system. They use it to map the density of objects around them, to find the gaps in the foliage, to locate the hollow points in our armor. When you hear that clicking, it means you are being rendered by their onboard computers. They are building a 3D model of your body, finding the weak points in your joints, the thickness of your skull, the location of your major arteries. It is the sound of a predator solving you. If you hear it move, don't stay in the same position. Break their line of sight. Force them to rescan. Every second you buy is a second closer to the morning. The star demons are also utilizing our own technology to spread terror. I've heard reports of them hacking into the public address systems in the cities. They play back the sounds of the jungle massacres, the screams, the explosions, the wet tearing of flesh. They want to break our morale before they even arrive. They want us to be preconditioned for defeat. It's a psychological siege. They're turning our own connectivity against us. Every smartphone, every radio, every television is a potential weapon in their hands. They're the ultimate hackers, able to bypass any firewall we've built. They don't just hunt our bodies, they hunt our minds. I have a message for the scavengers in the ruins of the logging camps. If you find their technology, if you find a discarded mask or a broken blade, do not touch it. We've had reports of booby traps. Their equipment is programmed to self-destruct if it falls into the wrong hands. One group of soldiers found a downed hunter and tried to remove its gauntlet. The resulting explosion leveled an entire hillside. They don't want us to have their secrets. They don't want the lesser species to learn the secrets of the stars. They're the gatekeepers of their own divinity. If you find a body, burn it from a distance. Don't go near it. The neon green blood is toxic, and the armor is a bomb waiting to go off. The red heat is starting to fluctuate. I'm seeing cold spikes on the thermal monitor. This means they're deploying cryo traps. They are localized zones of extreme cold designed to freeze the prey in place, making it easier to harvest the trophies without damaging the bone. If you feel a sudden unnatural chill in the air, a cold that makes the moisture on your skin turn to ice instantly, run. It's a snare. They're turning the environment into a series of thermal hurdles. We are being steered like cattle toward the killing floors they've established in the valleys. I want to talk about the mimicry again. It's getting more sophisticated. I heard a recording of a Yautja playing back a conversation between a husband and wife, but it was remixing the words to create a new sentence. It was telling the wife to come into the dark, using the husband's voice, but the intonation was slightly off, the rhythm too mechanical. They're learning our emotional triggers. They're learning what makes us move toward the shadows. If you are with someone, establish a code word. A word that isn't logical, a word that the creature wouldn't be able to predict. If they can't say the word, they aren't who they say they are. It's a primitive defense, but in a world of mirrors, it's all we have. I'm looking at the shimmer behind me in the glass. It has moved closer. I can see the outline of its mask now. It's a dark, matte metal, etched with tribal markings that seem to pulse with a low, amber light. It's holding a small, triangular device in its left hand. It's a recording unit. It's capturing my voice. It's taking me back with it. Not my body, but my spirit contained in these words. Am I a songbird to it? Or am I just a curiosity, a bit of local flavor to be replayed for its kin on a planet 10,000 light years away? The thought is both insulting and strangely comforting. At least someone is listening. I want to speak to the last-minute refugees at the coast. The boats are being intercepted. We've seen the blue flashes over the water. They're taking the fishermen, the tourists, anyone who tries to escape the arena. They want the hunt to be contained. They don't want the prey to leave the designated zone. If you're on the water, you're a sitting duck. There is no cover on the ocean. The shimmers can move over the waves as easily as the grass. Your only hope is to go deep, underwater, into the reefs where the thermal signatures are masked by the cold currents. But don't stay there too long. They have sensors for the bubbles. They have sensors for the fear. The base at San Cristobal is definitely gone. The seismic sensors just picked up a massive explosion, the self-destruct sequence. The commander kept his word. But the hunters, they didn't die. I can see them on a long-range thermal, moving away from the blast zone with ease. They were already gone before the trigger was pulled. They anticipated the move. They've seen this before on 1,000 other worlds. They've seen civilizations try to blow themselves up rather than be hunted. To them, it's just another environmental hazard to be navigated. They are the masters of the end of the world. I want to talk about the honor of the prey. This is a concept I found in some old, translated scrolls from a forgotten tribe in the Amazon. They spoke of the sky warriors who would only hunt those who showed the spirit of the jaguar. This means courage. This means cunning. If you cower, you are ignored. If you fight, you are honored with a death that is quick and surgical. I know it's small comfort when you're staring down a plasma caster, but there's a dignity in being worthy. We are proving to the universe that humanity has teeth. We are proving that we don't go quietly into the night. We are the most dangerous game, and we are making them earn every trophy. The red heat is now accompanied by a low-frequency hum that is making the glass in the booth vibrate. It's a disorientation pulse. It's designed to scramble the inner ear, making it impossible to stay balanced. They are preparing for the final sweep. They want the prey to be dizzy, confused, and unable to run. If you feel the world spinning, if you feel a pressure in your ears that won't go away, sit down. Close your eyes. Focus on your breathing. Don't let the pulse take your focus. It's a digital illusion. Your body is fine. Your brain is just being lied to. I have a report from the medical wing of the logging camp. One survivor, a nurse named Maria, said she saw a hunter inspect a group of wounded workers. It walked through the infirmary, its cloak rippling, its mask scanning the beds. It looked at a man with a broken leg, a man with a fever, a man with a terminal illness. It didn't touch them. It moved on until it found a security guard who was trying to hide a pistol under his pillow. It took him. It only wants the prime material. It is an apex predator with a moral code that we can barely comprehend. It's not a massacre. It's a quality control of the human race. I'm looking at this shimmer in the glass. It's reached out a hand, a long four-fingered hand with claws that look like black glass. It's touching the window. It's not breaking it. It's just feeling the vibration of my voice through the pane. It's fascinated by the sound maker. I'm looking it right in the eyes, the dark lenses of the mask. I'm not blinking. I'm not shaking. I am the voice of the selva, and I will not be silenced by a mirror. The morning will come, I say again, directly into the mic. The creature tilts its head. It plays back the sound of a jungle bird, a mournful, low-frequency call that sounds like a question. Then it plays back the sound of human heartbeat, steady, rhythmic, and fast. It's comparing me to the others. It's trying to categorize the prey. I have a message for the last watchers. The blue beam from the dam has expanded. It's now a column of light that is 5 miles wide. The ships are descending into the beam. The harvest is entering its final stage. They are extracting the trophies. They are taking the best of us back to the stars. We are losing our strongest, our bravest, our most resilient. The gene pool of the selva is being drained by the gods of the hunt. What will be left when they leave? A world of the unworthy, a world of the quiet. The barometer is starting to rise. The red heat is breaking. A cold wind is blowing in from the mountains. The first natural air we've felt in 3 days. The storm is dissipating. The mirrors are moving toward the beam. They're finished here. The season is over. This safari has reached its conclusion. They are leaving us with our ruins, our dead, and our memories. They're leaving us to wonder if we were ever truly in control of our own planet. I am Javier Morales. This is part 3 of the Selva Reports. The shimmer is pulling its hand away from the glass. It's turning toward the door. It's leaping onto the roof. I can hear the metallic thud as it jumps into the canopy. It's gone. The station is empty. The jungle is silent. The morning is finally coming, but it's a cold, gray morning that smells of ash and ozone. Stay in the dirt. Stay in the mud. Stay human. The hunters are going home, but the selva will never forget. The broadcast fades into the sound of the wind howling through the relay tower, a natural, mournful sound that is no longer interrupted by the clicking of the masks. The cold air that has rushed into the booth isn't the refreshing mountain breeze I expected. It's a sterile, dry chill that feels like it was manufactured in a laboratory. It has pushed the red heat out, but it has brought with it a fine, shimmering dust, a particulate that catches the morning light and turns the air into a haze of floating diamonds. I've been wiping this dust off the console for the last 20 minutes, and my fingers have started to tingle with a faint electrical numbness. It's not just ash from the San Cristobal explosion. It's something else, a biological or technological residue left behind by the departure of the ships. This shimmer that was standing behind me is long gone, vanished into the canopy with a single, weightless leap, but the space where it stood still feels occupied. There is a memory of presence in the room, a heaviness in the air that refuses to dissipate. I am still Javier Morales, and I'm still broadcasting, but the world I am describing today is a world that has been hollowed out. The morning has come, but the sun is filtered through the wake of a retreating god, and the jungle beneath me is no longer a place of life. It is a place of absence. I want to talk about the ascent. Over the last hour, we've received frantic, whispered reports from the blue zones, the areas directly beneath the vertical beams of light that shot down from the obsidian ships. Witnesses in the Valle de las Sombras describe seeing the trophies being moved. This is the part they didn't show in the old movies, the part that doesn't make it into the heroic legends. They didn't just take the skulls, they took the specimens. People are reporting seeing columns of blue light lifting the bodies of our strongest soldiers, our most decorated officers, and even the prime predators of the jungle, the black jaguars and the giant anacondas, up into the belly of the ships. It wasn't a violent abduction, it was a clinical, effortless extraction. The light seemed to dissolve the gravity around them, pulling them into the stars like dust toward a magnet. We are losing the best of our genetic stock. The Yautja didn't just hunt us for sport this time. They were sampling us. They are taking our resilience, our combat instincts, and our sheer animal will back to their world. We have been graded, and the highest achievers are being taken to a place where the hunt never ends. I have a recording from a pilot who was flying a civilian search and rescue chopper near the coast when the beams were activated. His voice is a jagged wreck of sound. They're just going up Javier. I could see the 4th Recon guys. They're still in their gear, still holding their rifles, but they're floating. They look like they're asleep. And the ships, they're not even moving. They're just sitting there, drinking them up. I try to fly closer, but my engines just died. The air turned to glass. I'm auto-rotating into the trees now. Tell my wife. Tell everyone. We're not the masters of anything. We're just the livestock. That was 40 minutes ago. We haven't heard from him since. The blue beam has now vanished, leaving behind nothing but a series of circular, scorched patches on the jungle floor where the vegetation has been turned to a fine, white powder. Let's talk about the cleanup. The military has finally moved back into the San Cristobal sector, or what's left of it. The fire from the napalm strike has burned itself out, replaced by that unnatural diamond dust haze. The ground teams are reporting fine the discarded. These are the ones who didn't make the cut. The unworthy. They're finding bodies that weren't taken as trophies, but weren't ignored either. They were used for practice. The younger hunters, the initiates, seem to have used the retreating soldiers for target practice with their smaller, handheld weapons. The wounds are jagged, irregular, not the surgical precision of the elder. It's a graveyard of experiments. The military is calling it a war crime, but that's a human word. To the Yautja, this was just a training exercise. They were teaching their young how to lead a moving target, how to compensate for the wind, how to strike a fleeing prey in the dark. We're the cardboard targets of the galaxy. I want to address the green fever. This is a new phenomenon reported by the medical teams at the perimeter. People who came into contact with the glowing neon green blood of the wounded hunters are developing a rapid, systemic infection. Their skin is turning a translucent, sickly shade, and their eyes are becoming hypersensitive to light. They are babbling in a language that sounds like a series of clicks and whistles, the same sounds I heard from the shimmer in this booth. It's as if the Yautja biology is overriding the human host. We don't know if it's a virus, a nanite infection, or just a byproduct of their extreme biochemistry. But the infected are being quarantined in lead-line containers. They're terrified. They say they can hear the ships calling to them from orbit. They say they can see the heat of the people around them. They are becoming the very thing that hunted them. If you see someone with glowing veins, do not touch them. Do not try to help them. They're no longer on our side of the evolutionary line. The star demons have left behind more than just blood. We have reports of artifacts being found in the deep jungle, devices that were dropped or discarded during the hunt. One militia group in the northern ridges claims to have found a mask, a metallic faceplate that survived the self-destruct of its owner. They say when you look through the lenses, the world changes. You don't see the trees, you see the flow. You see the movement of the air, the electrical pulses of the plants, the rhythmic beating of a heart a mile away. But they also say that the mask is alive. It's whispering to them. It's trying to sync with their neural pathways. 3 of the militia members have already gone blind after wearing it. Their retina is burned out by a spectrum of light the human eye wasn't designed to handle. This technology is not for us. It is a cursed gift. If you find a piece of the hunters, bury it. Cover it with stone and mud. We are not ready to see the world through their eyes. To see like a Yaoja is to lose the ability to see like a human. I want to speak to the broken survivors. Those of you who were spared because you were unworthy. I know the guilt is eating you alive. You watched your brothers, your fathers, and your friends be taken into the light while the mirrors looked at you and laughed. You feel like you were rejected by the gods. But listen to my voice. Your unworthiness is your salvation. The fact that you weren't a warrior, the fact that you weren't prime prey, is the reason you are still breathing this cold, diamond air. You are the seed of a new world. You are the ones who will have to rebuild the selva. Don't look at the sky with longing. Look at the dirt with purpose. We have to become a quiet civilization. We have to learn how to live in a way that doesn't draw the attention of the stars. The red heat will return. The hunters follow the cycles of the sun. In 20 years, or 50, or 100, they will be back for the next harvest. We have that much time to become invisible. The red heat may be breaking, but the ecological impact is just beginning to be felt. The jaguars that fled the jungle are not going back. They're staying in the villages, their instincts shattered by the presence of a superior predator. The birds are still silent. The river Rio Negro is flowing with a strange, oily film that is killing the fish by the thousands. The jungle is in a state of toxic shock. It's as if the very earth is having an allergic reaction to the extraterrestrial presence. The Yaoja didn't just hunt us. They poisoned the well. They left behind a world that is struggling to remember how to be a jungle. We have to be the gardeners of the ruin. We have to help the selva heal, even as we mourn the ones who were taken. I'm looking at the thermal monitors again. The ships are moving higher into the exosphere. They are leaving the blue column behind, a lingering ionization of the air that makes the lightning continue even though the storm clouds are gone. It's a ghost storm. Beautiful violet bolts of energy striking the earth in a perfect circle around the landing site. It's a marker, a lighthouse for the next hunting party. It's telling them, this is a good spot. The prey is strong here. The climate is perfect. We have been pinned on their map. We are a preferred destination on the galactic safari. Every time I look at that blue ionization, I feel a chill that no winter can match. We are no longer a hidden planet. We are a resource. Let's talk about the mimicry in the aftermath. The survivors are reporting that the forest is now full of voices. Not the mirrors themselves, but a lingering acoustic echo. They hear the screams of the 4th Recon Unit repeating in the wind. They hear the laughter of the hunters coming from the empty caves. It's a psychological pollution. The Yaoja used our voices so effectively that the air seems to have recorded the trauma. People are losing their minds, wandering into the woods because they think they hear a lost, loved one calling from a tree branch. Do not follow the voices. The hunters are gone, but the traps remain. The jungle is now a hall of mirrors, and the mirrors are all broken. I want to talk about the elder's choice. We found evidence that the elder, the one with the fur cloak and the staff, left something behind in the village of Alta Vista. On the wall of the church, he carved a symbol. It's a deep, cauterized mark that looks like a stylized skull with a lightning bolt through it. The local people are calling it the Mark of the Spared, but our linguists, looking at the photos, believe it's something else. It's a claim. It's a territorial marker. It says, this village is under the protection of the clan. It means they don't want any other hunters coming here and taking the stock. We are being managed like a private hunting preserve. We aren't free. We're just reserved. It's a terrifying kind of safety. To be protected by a monster is to realize that you are just a future meal. I have a report from the coast. The Obsidian ships have officially left orbit. They vanished into a warp ripple that caused a localized tsunami along the reef. The water is still churning, white and frothy with a strange, bioluminescent algae that wasn't there yesterday. The safari is over. The grand hunt has moved on to the next world, the next species, the next challenge. But they left behind their culls. We found a group of people on the beach who were dropped from the ships at the last second. They are changed. They don't have tongues. Their eyes have been replaced by metallic orbs. They move with a strange, synchronized grace. They are the witnesses. They were taken up, shown the interior of the ships, shown the gallery of skulls, and then sent back to tell us what they saw. But they can't speak. They can only draw. They are scratching maps of the stars into the sand, maps that lead to a place where the sun is a cold, black hole and the sky is a sea of fire. They are the prophets of the void. The red heat is gone, replaced by a deep, unnatural fog. The diamond dust is settling on the leaves, turning the jungle into a landscape of silver. It looks like a fairy tale, but it feels like a morgue. I'm sitting here in the booth, and the silence is absolute. No birds, no insects, no clicking, just the hum of the radio and the sound of my own breath. I feel like the last man on Earth, even though I know there are thousands of you listening. We are all last men today. We have all seen the ceiling of our world and realized it's a floor for someone else. We have seen the gods of the hunt and realized we are just the game. I want to speak to the military command in the capital. I know you are planning a retaliation. I know you're talking about building better missiles, better sensors, better armor. Listen to me, stop. You are just making us more interesting. You are just increasing our challenge rating. If you build a better weapon, they will bring a better shield. If you build a faster jet, they will bring a faster beam. The only way to win is to de-escalate. We have to become boring. We have to become a species that isn't worth the fuel it takes to reach us. We have to embrace the simple. We have to go back to the mud and stay there. If we become a high-tech civilization again, we're just ringing the dinner bell for the next hunting party. The geothermal energy from the dam is finally stabilizing. The blue beam has left a permanent scar on the atmosphere, a localized hole in the ozone that is letting in a strange ultraviolet light. The plants in that zone are turning black, their leaves thickening into a leather-like texture. They are Yautja. The alien biology is taking root. The Earth is being reseeded with their world. In 100 years, the Valle de las Sombras won't be a tropical jungle anymore. It will be a hunting forest made of alien trees and synthetic vines. We are losing our planet, 1 acre at a time, to an invasive species that treats us like a sport. I'm looking at the mark of the hunter on the wall in my booth. The 3 red dots are gone, but the spots where they touch the wood are charred. It's a reminder that I was seconds away from becoming a trophy. Why did it spare me? Was it because I was unarmed? Or was it because it wanted someone to tell the story? I am the recorder of the hunt. I am the one who ensures that their legend lives on. They didn't kill me because a hunter needs a witness. A trophy is meaningless if no one knows how hard it was to get. I am the publicist of the star demons. It's a disgusting realization, but it's the only reason I'm still here. I am part of their ritual. I have a report from the ruins of San Pedro. The priest who was in the church said that after the towering figure left, he found a gift on the altar. It wasn't gold. It was a medallion, a heavy, circular coin made of an unknown metal. It has the image of a human heart on one side and a Yautja mandible on the other. It's a token of respect. They honored the village for not fighting back, for recognizing the superiority of the hunter. They are training us. They are teaching us how to be good prey. If we behave, we are spared. If we resist, we are harvested. It's the ultimate form of colonialism. They are colonizing our very instincts. I want to talk about the sound of the silence one last time. It's not a peaceful silence. It's a waiting silence. The jungle is holding its breath, waiting for the shimmers to return. The animals are hiding, waiting for the red heat to come back. We are all living in the in-between. We are living in the space between the last harvest and the next one. Our entire history from this point forward will be measured in hunting seasons. We are no longer the masters of the selva. We are the stock of the stars. I am Javier Morales. This is part 4 of the Selva Reports. The fog is lifting and I can see the sun. It looks small. It looks distant. It looks like just another star where a hunter might be sitting, sharpening his blades, looking down at a little green planet and thinking, soon, It's almost season again. Stay in the mud. Stay quiet. Stay human. The morning has come, but the shadows are much longer than they used to be. The broadcast ends with the sound of a heavy, manual switch being flipped. The silence that follows is deep, interrupted only by the faint, distant sound of a single metallic click, a sound that might be the equipment cooling down or something else entirely. The diamond dust has settled into a thick, shimmering blanket that covers every leaf, every rusted truck, and every square inch of this radio booth. It doesn't melt under the morning sun. Instead, it catches the light and refracts it into thousands of tiny, piercing needles of spectrum-colored fire. My lungs feel heavy, as if I've been breathing in pulverized glass, and the electrical tingling in my fingertips has moved up my arms, settling into a dull, rhythmic throb that matches the low-frequency hum still vibrating through the soil. The ships are gone. The red heat has evaporated into a sterile mountain chill, but the jungle I am looking at is no longer the selva I was born in. It is a preserved specimen. It is a quieted cage. I am sitting here, watching the violet ghost storm flicker on the horizon, realizing that the news I am reporting is no longer current events. It is the first chapter of a new, terrestrial history where humanity is no longer the narrator. We're the footnote. We are the data points in a ledger kept by hunters who are already light years away, cataloging our screams as a measure of our quality. I want to talk about the witnesses, the ones they dropped back onto the beach at Puerto Vallarta before the final warp ripple. There are 7 of them, 3 soldiers, 2 local fishermen, and a woman who had been a tourist from Brazil. They aren't speaking. They can't. When the medical teams opened their mouths, they found only a smooth, cauterized cavity where the tongue used to be. But it's their eyes that are causing the most terror. Their natural eyes have been removed and replaced with obsidian spheres that hum with a faint, internal amber light. These eyes don't blink. They don't look at you. They look through you. The doctors say the metallic orbs are wired directly into the visual cortex. These people are recorders. They were taken up into the obsidian ships, not to be trophies, but to be storage units. They were shown the Great Trophy Hall, the place where the skulls of 1,000 species are displayed like jewelry. And now, they're walking among us, their amber eyes recording our grief, our ruins, and our attempts to rebuild. We aren't being watched from the stars anymore. We're being watched by our own kind. The hunters left behind CCTV made of human flesh. One of the witnesses, the sergeant from the 4th Recon, has been scratching symbols into the walls of the quarantine tent. He doesn't use a pen. He uses his fingernails, which have become hardened and black, like the claws of the mirrors. He is drawing a map. It's not a map of the jungle, or even of the earth. It's a map of the hunting grounds. It shows a network of stars connected by jagged, pulsing lines of energy. Our sun is there, marked with the same cauterized skull symbol the elder left on the church in Alta Vista. But there are hundreds of other suns marked the same way. We are just one stop on a celestial circuit. We are a seasonal preserve. The sergeant's drawings show the ships moving in a great, circular path through the galaxy, returning to the same points over and over again as the local prey replenishes its numbers. He is drawing our future. He is telling us that the Grand Hunt wasn't a one-time invasion. It was a restocking. They took our strongest so that the next generation would have to be even stronger to survive. They are farming our courage. They are breeding us for a better hunt 20 years from now. Let's talk about the Yautja growing in the blue zones. The areas where the extraction beams touch the earth are no longer producing tropical ferns or mahogany trees. The black, leather-like vines I mentioned earlier are growing at an impossible rate, 3 feet every hour. They are pulsing with a faint, bioluminescent green fluid that looks exactly like the blood of the hunters. These plants aren't photosynthesis-based. They seem to feed on the lingering ionization in the air and the diamond dust on the ground. They are atmosphere converters. They are slowly changing the composition of the air in the Valle de las Sombras. It's getting thinner. It's getting drier. The smell of the jungle, the rot, the damp, the life, is being replaced by the smell of hot metal and dry silicon. The Earth is being reformatted to suit the respiratory needs of the hunters. They didn't just take trophies, they planted a garden. If this growth isn't stopped, the selva will become an alien outpost within a decade. But how do you stop a plant that bleeds acid and grows in the middle of a lightning storm? The global reaction to the selva event is one of paralyzed silence. The world's governments are holding emergency sessions behind closed doors, but the satellite images don't lie. Every nation now knows that our borders, our militaries, and our sovereignty are illusions. We are a planet of ants living in the backyard of a giant. I've heard rumors that the superpowers are discussing a planetary defense initiative, a plan to build orbital weapon platforms and deep space detection nets. But listen to me, that is the adrenaline response they are looking for. If we weaponize the planet, we are just putting on a suit of armor for the next hunter. We are just making ourselves a more interesting target. The Yautja don't want to conquer a planet of farmers. They want to hunt a planet of warriors. Every missile we build, every laser we calibrate, is just a level up in their game. We are falling into the trap of our own pride. We think we can win a war against a race that has mastered gravity. We can't. Our only hope is to become extinct in their eyes. We have to become a species that provides no sport, no challenge, and no honor. We have to become boring. I want to speak to the last-minute militia in the mountains. I know you are gathering the discarded weapons, the blue blades, and the triangular discs left behind by the hunters. You think you can reverse engineer this technology. You think you can use the God's fire against them. You are playing with a self-destruct mechanism you don't understand. We've had reports of 3 more accidental detonations in the northern camps. One man tried to open a discarded medkit, and it released a gaseous neurotoxin that turned everyone in a 5-mile radius into a static witness. People who are physically frozen, their nervous systems locked in a state of permanent, agonizing alertness. They're still standing there in the middle of a logging camp, unable to move, unable to speak, their eyes wide with the memory of the blue light. The technology of the Yautja is biolocked. It is designed to recognize the DNA of the hunter. To anyone else, it is a bomb, a poison, or a trap. Drop the weapons. Walk away from the artifacts. If we try to steal their fire, they will come back just to see how brightly we burn. The red heat may have broken, but the thermal memory of the jungle is still active. I'm looking at the infrared monitors, and the ground itself is pulsing. There are patterns of heat moving through the soil, like giant veins of fire. It seems the Yautja didn't just use the dam for energy. They injected the planetary crust with an artificial geothermal pulse. They are warming the Earth from the bottom up. The glaciers and the high peaks are melting, but they aren't turning into water. They are turning into steam. The entire water cycle of the region has been disrupted. We are looking at a steam age for the selva. A permanent fog, a permanent humidity, and a permanent low-level vibration that makes it impossible to sleep. It's the background noise of the new world. It's the hum of the hunting preserve being prepared for the next season. Let's talk about the sound of the silence in the cities. I've spoken to a colleague in Mexico City. He says the silence there is worse than the noise ever was. People are afraid to speak above a whisper. They're afraid to drive their cars. They're afraid to turn on the television. This star fear has permeated the global consciousness. We are all waiting for the clicking to start again. We are all waiting for the 3 red dots to appear on our chests. This is the psychological harvest. They didn't just take our bodies. They took our security. They reminded us that we are part of a food chain we forgot existed. Every child who looks at the stars tonight isn't wishing on a falling star. They're praying that the star doesn't land. We have become a nocturnal species again, huddling in the dark, eyes wide, listening for the sound of a mirror moving across the roof. I have a report from the village of San Pedro. The mark of the spared on the church has begun to glow. At night, it emits a soft, amber light that can be seen from miles away. The villagers have started a new religion around it. They are leaving offerings, not of gold or food, but of iron. They are piling their knives, their tools, and their broken machinery at the base of the mark. They are disarming themselves in front of their new gods. They believe that by becoming pacifists, they will be skipped in the next harvest. It's a desperate, pathetic kind of faith, but it's the only thing they have left. The priest who is there has stopped preaching about the old God. He now speaks of the great balance, the order of the hunt, and the honor of the prey. He is teaching them how to be good livestock. It is the ultimate spiritual defeat. To worship your hunter is to admit that your soul has already been taken. I'm looking at the shimmer dust on my hands. It's starting to organize. The dust on the console is forming into small, geometric patterns, triangles, circles, and jagged lines that look like the markings on the Yautja armor. It's smart matter. It's still communicating with the ships in orbit. Every grain of dust is a sensor, a relay, a tiny bit of eyes that are reporting back to the clan. I am being mapped as I speak. They are recording the vibration of my vocal cords, the heat of my breath, the specific frequency of my defiance. I am not Javier Morales anymore. I am I am a vocal anomaly in their data set. The realization makes me want to scream, to smash the equipment, to run into the jungle and bury myself in the mud. But I won't. I will stay here. I will keep the record. I will be the voice of the vibe. If I'm a specimen, I will be a difficult one. I will provide them with data they can't easily categorize. I want to talk about the philosophy of the return. The Yautja don't move in straight lines. They move in cycles. Their technology, their culture, and their hunt are all based on the return. They return to the same worlds, the same ruins, the same bloodlines. This means they are predictable in the long term, but inevitable in the short term. We can calculate the day they will come back. It will be the next time the red heat cycles through our solar system, the next time the magnetic fields of the Earth and their home world align. We have 22 years. 22 years of peace. 22 years to prepare. But how do you prepare for a predator that views your preparation as a challenge? If we build a fortress, they will bring a siege engine. If we hide in the caves, they will bring deep sensors. The only way to win is to change the game. We have to become something that they don't want to hunt. We have to become a species that has no honor. We have to be the cowards of the stars. It's a bitter pill to swallow for a race that built its history on glory and conquest. But glory is what gets you turned into a skull on a wall. Cowardice is what keeps the species alive. The blue column at the dam is finally flickering out. The ionization is dissipating, leaving behind a sky that is a strange, permanent shade of bruised indigo. The ultraviolet levels are still twice what they should be. We're being told to stay indoors during the peak hours, to wear lead-lined clothing, and to cover our eyes. The starlight is literally burning us. The Earth's atmosphere has been thinning since the ships arrived. They didn't just take our people, they modified our home. They turned the thermostat up, they changed the lighting, and they cleared the furniture. They are staging the planet for the next group of youngbloods. We are living in a renovated ruin. The selva will never be green again. It will be obsidian and emerald. It will be a place of alien shadows and metallic whispers. I want to speak to the children of the selva, the ones who were born during the red heat. You are the Yautja generation. You have grown up with the clicking in the trees and the blue light in the sky. You don't know the world as it was. You don't know the feeling of a jungle that isn't watching you. But you're the ones who will have to make the choice. In 20 years, when the star demons return, will you be the warriors they want? Will you take up the blue blades and the plasma casters and meet them in the canyon for a glorious death? Or will you be the ones who stay in the mud? Will you be the ones who refuse to provide them with a trophy? Your weakness is the only thing that can save the world. If you refuse to be prey, they will eventually stop being hunters. They will find a more interesting planet, a more worthy species. We have to be the great disappointment of the galaxy. I have a final report from the medical triage near the coast. They say the witnesses, the ones with the obsidian eyes, have started to broadcast. At night, their eyes emit a high-definition hologram that is projected into the air above the camp. It shows the history of the hunt. It shows the Yautja landing on Earth 10,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 50 years ago. It shows them hunting the Mayans, the Aztecs, the conquistadors, the guerrillas. We have been their stock for as long as we have been a civilization. We aren't a new discovery. We are an old favorite. We are the vintage trophy of the Yautja clan. Seeing our ancestors being harvested in the same way we were, it breaks something in the human soul. It makes us realize that our entire progress, our science, our art, our philosophy, was just fattening the livestock. We were becoming better meat. The holograms end with an image of the current Earth, marked with the claim of the elder. It's a soul sign. We have been bought with the blood of our strongest. I'm looking at the shimmer on the floor. It's moving toward my feet. The geometric patterns are connecting, forming a path that leads out of the booth and into the jungle. It's an invitation, or a command. It's telling me to follow the hunt. It's telling me that my job as the recorder isn't finished. I have to go out there. I have to see the alien garden. I have to walk through the obsidian forest. I have to be the eyes for the ones who are too afraid to look. I am the ambassador of the prey. It's a role I never asked for, and a role I despise, but it's the only one left. The emergency news is over. The history of the harvest has begun. I am Javier Morales. This is the final report from the Radio Selva relay station. The fuel for the generator is almost gone. The diamond dust is clogging the intake. The voice is getting thin, but the record is complete. I have told you what they are. I have told you why they were here, and I have told you what they left behind. Now it is up to you. Will you be a warrior for the next season, or will you be a survivor of the long dark? Choose wisely. The stars are watching, and they have a very high standard for trophies. Stay in the mud. Stay quiet. Stay human. The morning has come, but the hunters are just sleeping until the next red heat. Wait, I can hear it again, just at the edge of the range. A low, rhythmic clicking, not from the ridge, not from the hall. It's coming from inside the radio. It's coming from the signal itself. They didn't leave. They just integrated. They're in the wires. They're in the airwaves. They're in the noise. The morning will come. The radio whispers back to me in my own voice, but with a metallic, star-cold resonance. I'm turning off the mic now. I'm walking into the silver fog. I'm going to see the garden. The broadcast ends with a sharp, electronic snap. The static that follows is not random. It has a rhythmic, pulsing quality, a data stream that sounds like a heartbeat. The last sound on the frequency is a single, deep, guttural growl, followed by the sound of a heavy, metallic mask locking into place.